Hi, this is Mark again, and the second in our video series about European Inter Partes Patent Review, otherwise termed opposition before the European Patent Office. What I'm going to cover on this video is from the point of view of the proprietor. If you're the proprietor of a patent, or you might be the representative of a proprietor of a patent, what are you going to be doing before grant of a patent to defend yourself better in potential opposition proceedings, and what signals are there to suggest that an opposition might be in the offing? Well, first of all, there's the general commercial background, and you or your client will know better about that than I will. However, there are other signals. For example, have there been third-party observations which have been filed? In the patents which have been cited during prosecution, are the patents which are from a close competitor on similar subject matter, for example? And the other key element is there a tendency, is there a pattern of opposition in your technical field? You will often tend to find that there's fields like, in my experience, automotive, where very few oppositions are filed, where there are other examples in the chemical patent area, for example with polymers, where oppositions are very common. So, if you're the proprietor or you're representing the proprietor and you're coming up to grant of a patent, what should you be looking out for? Well, first of all, I've mentioned those signals that there might be an opposition, but secondly, you're in a position hopefully where you're getting the intention to grant communication, the Rule 71(3) communication as it's called, and that lays out the text which the examiner expects to allow. Well, this is quite a key issue when it comes to intention to grant, because you will really want to comb through that specification and the claims in particular very carefully to make sure there's no subject matter which extends beyond the application as originally filed, because if there is, that really is a very, very weak link in terms of any opposition. Similarly, if you're thinking about opposing a patent, you really don't want to be diving in at this last moment to make third-party observations, alerting a proprietor to the fact that there may be this issue. So, what might an example be of what's this so-called add-in matter, which falls under Article 123 of the European Patent Convention? Well, it's basically anything, and virtually anything at all, which extends beyond the scope of the application as originally filed. So a case I've been looking at recently, you had an enclosure, and in that enclosure there was a circuit board, and the original specification said that there is a circuit board within the enclosure. But the examiner was really insistent that in actual fact, to get the benefit of the invention, it had to be completely enclosed. It had to be fully enclosed within that enclosure. But that text was not in the application as originally filed. And if we'd let that go to grant with the text as it was, we might well have had problems. So just because there are two words which sound similar, and particularly in the US, I've noticed that there's a lot more, maybe even common sense, but certainly leeway in terms of the way claims can be amended. Don't take that for granted in Europe. Look very carefully at add-in matter. So this just comes to a close on the first, the position before grant. Look very carefully about whether there is extension of subject matter, and also if you're the proprietor, look for signals that there might be an opposition. Finally, if you think there's going to be an opposition before grant, file a divisional application. It needn't cost very much, and what it means is there's a continuing parallel prosecution going on, so whatever happens in the opposition procedure, you could actually and potentially rerun the whole thing from fresh because of your new application you've got in. Thank you.